Today we'll be working through LeetCode TwoSum problem. TwoSum is a popular interview question. Sounds tricky, but once you get a hang of it, it's very straightforward. Okay, let's take a look at an example now. For the array, we have 2, 7, 11, 15, and target value of 9. We return 0 and 1 because the 0th index and the first index added together equal 9. We return an array containing 0 and 1. In the second example, we have 3, 2, 4 as an array, and target value of 6. Then we just return the first index and the second index because 2 plus 4. For the third one, we have 3 and 3. We could just simply return the indices of everything inside the brackets. Okay, so hopefully you've got a better understanding of the question. And now let's move on to the solutions. So for the first solution, we have TwoSum, and it takes in an array and target value. And inside the function, we have an if statement. It returns false if the size of the array is not big enough. So it's gonna just help us take care of the edge cases. And then we have our own dictionary or map. It's gonna help us keep track of the elements that or numbers that we're gonna encounter. So instead of searching the entire array, what we can do is to store the complements inside the dictionary or map. I know it sounds a little confusing, but we'll get into it. And then we have a for loop. Here we use for loop to iterate over all indices in array. And then inside for loop, we have a if statement. And then we have a condition to check if the current value, the current number is already in the dictionary. If it is, we're gonna return a pair as the answer. Otherwise, we're gonna do a little like calculation to get the complements, and then we're gonna store the complements inside the dictionary. All right, so to help you better understand, I will show you an example. So here we have an array, and we have indices above it. So at the first index, which is 0, and we get number 2. Then 2 goes into the for loop, and it hits the if statement. It doesn't satisfy the condition, right? Because our dictionary is still empty. So, and then you move to the else statement, and we do the calculation. We get the complements using the target value. I think it's 9. Okay. And then minus the current number, which is 2, and we get 7. And we store 7 as a key with the current index as a value into the dictionary. So it's going to look like this. 7, current index is 0. Yes. And then we move to the next index, which is 1. And then we have our number 7. 7 goes into a for loop. It hits the first condition, and it's true, right? Because 7 is already in the dictionary. And then we just return the value of 7 and the current index, which is 1. And it's going to be our answer. So let's submit it. Plus, the order doesn't really matter, like 0, 1, or 1, 0. Because I think it says here. Yes. Okay. Let me submit it to see if it could pass the test. Yes, okay. We passed it, and now let's look at the second solution. Let me comment down. Okay, the second solution is pretty similar to the first one, but instead of using a dictionary, here we just use an index function to fetch the index. As always, we have a for loop. We have a built-in enumerate function, and we can use this function to get like a counter. And then we have our if statement with 2 conditions. The first condition is to check the complements if the complements are already in the array. And then the second solution, the second condition is to help us to check if we have already encountered the same like index. Okay. I think I'm gonna give you an example to help you digest this concept. For example, let's say if we have a target value of, let's say, is 14, and we have an array which is 7, 9, 5. Okay, so we want it to return like the first index and the second index. But without the second condition, what we could end it up with is 0 and 0. Why? Because it's gonna hit the first index, the first number twice to pass the operation. That's why we have our second index, second condition here to prevent this happening. Okay. Yes, so now let's submit it. Great. Okay, perfect. It passed it again. I think that's it. And for the time complexity, since we only have one for loop, this is going to operate on all of n. So thanks for watching today's video, and I will see you next time.